software that the students will be using. So we're going to do a quick training with the 3 major parts of the software that the students will be using on that first day of school. I have 4 guests with us tonight. I'd like to first introduce myself. My name is Heidi Williams.
Ms. Williams, before you go any further, let me interject. We have some in the chat. Is everyone able to hear? We have a few people that were not able to hear. If you can do maybe like a thumbs up. I can hear you, hi, Ms. Williams, but okay, so we can, okay. For those of you that are not able to hear, if you're on your phone, particularly an iPhone, there's an icon at the top, and you will have to actually press that icon to connect to audio. Okay, so everyone can hear. Okay, my apologies, Ms. Williams. Just want to make sure our parents can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. So my name is Heidi Williams, and I am the technology coordinator for one of the grants here in the district called A2E2. And the 3 guests that I have with us first is Melissa Gibson. She's going to be our moderator for the night. So as questions come in, she will allow me to receive those questions, and I'll answer them throughout the presentation. But also know at the end of the presentation, there will be a time to ask questions as well. And then if we run out of time, we have a Google Doc set up on our Anytime Anywhere site that you can go and type in questions that will be answered as you put them in there, or within 24 hours. I think that's probably a good way to say that. And then we have Eduardo Conde. He is the data communication specialist for the A2E2 program, and he will be providing some Spanish translation for our parents this evening. So for the beginning and the end, he'll be doing that. He's going to introduce himself in Spanish here in just a moment. And then last, I don't have a picture, but we have Chastity McKissick. She is the Chief of Curriculum Instruction and Assessment. She's going to be joining us as well if you have any specific questions that I can't answer that are more towards the curriculum and instruction side, and then I can help with the technical side of this. So Eduardo, if you have a moment, would you introduce yourself, please?
Eduardo, we can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
I figure I just did it. Buenas tardes. Este mensaje, mi nombre es Eduardo Conde, especialista en comunicaciones del Departamento de Escuelas Magnet. Este mensaje es para todos nuestros padres de habla hispana que nos están acompañando en este momento. Esta conferencia es un entrenamiento para darle las herramientas necesarias de todas las plataformas que vamos a estar usando en nuestro entrenamiento, en el próximo año escolar, de todas las plataformas y las herramientas. Va a ser en inglés, pero todo esto yo voy a estar disponible para traducir si tienen alguna pregunta, y todo esto lo vamos a tener en la página de internet, el entrenamiento, idénticamente el entrenamiento traducido al español. Al final de la presentación vamos a tener una sesión de preguntas y respuestas. Pueden escribir cualquier pregunta que tengan en el chat en español y yo se las voy a responder. Gracias. Heidi.
Thank you, Eduardo. Okay, so let's begin. Just quickly, I want to go over the objectives and the learning overview that we've got planned for you tonight. So the objective overall is just to ensure that our parents and our caregivers have the tools to ensure that your student is prepared to participate and learn in this online environment that we will definitely be doing for the next 4 to 6 weeks and maybe longer, depending on how the COVID response continues. And then our learning overviews, and there's more than this I'm sure that you're going to have questions for, but we're going to be focusing on Classlink, how your students are going to be accessing the different software that's provided by the district, Zoom tools and the Zoom software that your students will need. And I understand we're on Zoom right now, so you definitely have the software downloaded to your machines. But I just want to give you the website if you are needing to download it, say to your laptop or to your cell phones, different devices, just so you know where it's at in the case that you might need it later. And then the tools on there that your students would possibly need to use, might not have used it as much as, and might not be as familiar with some of the tools that will be there. So I want to go over that. And then the last two we'll spend a lot of time on is the Schoology navigation. Schoology is where our students will be receiving their assignments, taking their quizzes, their assessments, turning in the assignments that they're going to be doing online. So we'll spend a good time looking at that and how you as a parent can monitor what your student is doing, and if they're keeping up with their work, you will have that access. So I want to show you how to register for all of that. And then the attendance requirements and the support that your students might need, we'll talk about that. And then we will end with some questions and answers. And if time goes over, we will have like a Google Doc that you can submit questions to, and you'll receive those answers on the Anytime Anywhere website. So first, Classlink. This is really quick. This is what we call a digital backpack, kind of like when you have all your books in a backpack. All of the software that DeSoto has purchased that your students might need for the school year will be in one place. So the great thing about this is it's a single login access point. So you're not going to have to remember all the different passwords that these softwares require. It's once you log into the site, your students are linked to every single piece of software, and it will take them directly on for them to use it. So this is the URL, but you don't need to remember this unless you feel like you want to. The software is going to be linked to our Anytime, Anywhere site. Can everyone see where I'm at right now? Melissa, can you see this? Okay. So how you find the direct link to the digital backpack is you're going to go to the DeSoto ISD website. And then the first option under the quick links is our Anytime, Anywhere learning. This is where you're going to spend probably most of your time if you're trying to access information about your curriculum that your students, information about COVID, things that you need to know directly about the instruction for your student. So once you go onto this page, the first choice here is Classlink. So if you have an assignment, and we'll get into how you find out what assignments and what software your student's going to need, you can go directly to this page and click on the link, and it will add you in. Now, if you are logged in, you haven't logged in for the first time, you'll see this login page. And it's going to ask for your student's username and password. And you're probably thinking, well, what's my student's username and password? I haven't done this in a while. We have all that information that you might need, but it's going to be your student's first name and last name, and then the initials of their name, their ID number, and exclamation point at the end. But you don't have to remember that. We have that information for you. Where you can find that is going to be under the frequently asked questions. Most of the things that you'll need to know that are going to be there. So if you go to the frequently asked questions in the Anytime Anywhere, you'll scroll down and you'll find the question that says, what is my student's username and password? Dropping that down will tell you what it is. So it's your student's first name, your student's last name, the capital letter of their first initial in their name, the lowercase of the last initial in their name, their last name, the entire ID number, and an exclamation point. So here's the example. If his name was John Wilson, it'd be a capital J, a lowercase w, what their ID number is, and the exclamation point. And that's what you would put in here, and then click sign in. And now you're on that digital backpack, and that's not where I want to go. This is the one. Now, all of these apps are not for all students. This is just all the software that we have purchased, the district has purchased. Some of them are for high school kids. Some of them are going to be just for one of the elementary schools. It just depends on what your teacher is asking the student to do will be the software that you will click on. If you click on a software that is not registered to your student, it will just tell you you don't have access to it. But if it's something that they do have access to, you'll click on it and it'll take you exactly where you want to go. What I want to draw your attention to here is this middle one, this Schoology. This is going to be a site that you're going to go to every day. So when their student wants to click on this every day, and this was where they'll find their assignments and turn in their assignments and take their quizzes and all of that. And that's on Schoology, and you access it directly here from that digital backpack. Okay, so are we all clear on how we find that class link? Maybe just a couple thumbs up, or are we good, Melissa? I can't see chats.
Yes, we're good. I'm going to respond to some people privately. We're good.
Okay. So that's your class link. This is all the software that your student will need to access that we have provided on that Anytime, Anywhere link. Next, we want to go over some of the Zoom access, Zoom controls, and the software that you need. This one is also on that Anytime, Anywhere site. If you're needing a quick access, you've got a new cell phone or you've got a new iPad. If you were to go to zoom.us.download, it will take you to that site. I'm going to show you, it'll let me out. On the Anytime, Anywhere, where to find that one. If you're going to go under Parent Resources, you're going to see that there are different learning plans available. So if your student is in elementary school, middle school, or high school, you would choose the link that was appropriate for you. If you have students in all, then all of them will work. They're basically all the same. There's just variations in, say, like the schedules. So if I was to go to the middle school plan and I scroll down to the bottom, there are also some quick links down at the bottom, and there's your Zoom downloads. So if I was to click on this link here, it's going to take me directly to all the downloads that you might need. The first one is just for like your PC. If you clicked on this, it would give you all of the drivers that you would need to be able to access Zoom. Now, if you were wanting to add Zoom to your cell phone because you're mobile, you can go to the App Store, which is also here as well. And you would just choose the choice that was appropriate for your device. It's a mobile device, it would be the apps. If you were using a desktop or a laptop, it would be this first choice here. Now, once you're in Zoom, and you've all experienced this today, I'm sure, the first question that it's going to ask you is if you want to join with your computer audio. Make sure that you select that. Clicking past this will and could affect you're able to communicate with the teacher, your student's ability to communicate with the teacher. When they're in a Zoom classroom, there will be opportunities where the teacher is going to ask the student to verbally or non-verbally participate. If they need to verbally participate, they need to ensure that their audio is on. Okay. Now at the bottom of your screen, if you're all on some type of device, if you just kind of move your screen a little bit, you'll see a toolbar that appears at the bottom. You'll see that there's a mute, a video, there are reactions, there's a share screen. The tools that your student will need to use when they're in the classroom are as followed. So the mute, they should know how to turn and turn off their microphone. Now when they first enter the room, the teacher will most likely have their microphone off. But if the teacher asks them to communicate, they just need to know that I need to push the button with the microphone on it to speak. And then when they're done, turn it off again. Because if every student has their microphone on, it causes a lot of feedback and interference, with noise going on behind the student. So just have them know where it is and how to turn it on and off. The second video one here is your video camera. Now, it's suggested that students show their face while they are in a class, in a Zoom classroom. It's not required, but it's suggested that they do that. And part of the concerns that I've heard from parents is, if the video camera's on, I have all this stuff going on in the back room, life is going on even though my kid is still in school. So one of the ways that we can kind of cut back on the background stuff going on is you can add in a virtual background. And then they'll only be able to see your student's face, and like you can see my kitchen behind me, the kitchen would be gone and a picture would be in front of that. So how you would add that in is you would click on the arrow to the right of the video, and then it will give you some choices. You would choose the virtual background option, and then from there you get to pick what kind of virtual background. And this was me practicing yesterday, so I had to take a picture of myself to be able to show this for you today. But they have the generic ones. So you have like the space and the grass and the bridge in San Francisco. But if you have a different image that you would like to choose, you can click on this little plus sign, and it will ask you to upload the picture that you would like to choose. And then it will upload it, and you can double click and add that as your background. The only thing we want to make sure that we understand is that if a student is using a background that is for the school day, just make sure that they are picking pictures that are appropriate for school. And if they are on camera, that they are dressed for the school day. So dress code would apply. So like the spaghetti straps and that kind of stuff, I would suggest that they save for that for later in the day, and they just wear t-shirts and regular clothes that they would wear for school. Any questions so far?
Yes, I'm going to answer one question. Exotic. I believe they were having trouble. As Eduardo said, this will also be available on the DeSoto website as it is being recorded.
Yes, it's being recorded, and I have this PowerPoint also loaded on the site, and I'll show you where that is here in just a moment, where you can find this PowerPoint. The last three options for your student that they will need to participate in a Zoom classroom is under the participants bar, you'll see it'll tell you how many people are in this Zoom meeting. And the teacher is going to need to know which students are there. So I would suggest having the student click on that participants list and make sure that their name is what's listed there as a participant. So if they're using like a parent's iPad or a friend's iPad and it shows their name and not the student's name who's in class, your student won't get credit for attendance that day. So to ensure that they're getting attendance credit, we need to make sure that their name is what's listed. So how you do that, if it's not there, when you click on participants and you hover your name over your name, hover your mouse over the name, two blue boxes will appear to mute yourself or unmute, and then the more. When you click more, that's where you can do the renaming. So if you're on a cell phone or some type of mobile device, it should work the same way. You click on participants, and then the little box to the side will appear, and then you just hover over, like you click on your name, and it'll give you those options. The chat option, they'll definitely need to know how to use for the teacher. The teacher will ask them to participate in the chat, answer questions. So you would, again, select the chat icon, and then a box to the right will appear. And at the very bottom, which is what I screenshotted, is where they would type in the answer that the teacher was requiring of them. Now, depending on the teacher, they might restrict who the student can chat with. So if you were needing to send the message directly to the teacher, you would go to those little three dots on the right side and send it just to the teacher, and that might already be the only option. It's going to just depend on how the teacher sets up their Zoom. But students might be able to send private messages. They might be able to send a message to everybody in the chat or directly to the teacher. Now, let me just say this. Even though it says that it's a private message, it is not a private message. The teacher will get a report of all the communications that a student is having amongst themselves. So even though it says it's private, it's not really private. The host can read what's being said, so they should just know that ahead of time if that option is available to them. Their communications will be read by the teacher. And then the last are the nonverbal reactions. Teachers, we call this checking for understanding. So you might say, does everyone understand? Instead of 15 students saying yes, they could find the reaction button and just do a thumbs up to say, yes, I got it, I understand. Or if they are agreeing with something that a student has said verbally, or they're agreeing with what the teacher says, they could use the clap hands to say that they agree with those. So those are the two options for reactions that they'll have, and they just need to know where that's at. And if they get stuck, especially those little ones, the parents, you guys can jump in and help them find those reactions for them. Okay, so that's it for the Zoom. I can pause for a question in Zoom if we have any. And then we're going to jump into the meaty stuff of Schoology and how to check your students' information.
So we just, Heidi, there's some questions, Ms. Williams, there's some questions in the chat about the renaming. The purpose of the renaming is just for identification purposes, especially if a student isn't showing them their faces. It's so that a teacher can know, okay, Melissa Gibson is on the phone, Heidi Williams is on. And sometimes when students are on a mobile app or on their mobile phones, it'll come in as iPhone. So also kind of for security as well, to make sure that it's the student, you know, that's on the Zoom call with the teacher, so the teacher is able to recognize, oh, okay, that's Heidi Williams that's in class right now.
Exactly. And they will be using it for attendance. So that's an attendance marker as well. So if a student comes on and they're on for like 5 minutes and they get dropped, they need to make sure that they get back on, just to ensure that or send a teacher a message letting them know that they have been dropped and they can't get back on, so it doesn't affect their attendance for that class period.
Okay, there's two more questions. We're going to take these two questions and then we'll hold the rest of them until the end. We have one that says, what happens if a power or internet outage during the time that class is in session?
So if something like that was to happen, you would just need to, when it comes back on, let the teacher know what happened. Sure, you could text it or, you know, send it through your mobile data, but if you needed to wait until the power came back on, definitely let somebody know what happened as soon as you can.
Okay, and then we're gonna have this one last question until the end, until we get to the end of the presentation. And I'm gonna ask Chief McKissick to answer this one. What is anytime, anywhere used for if Schoology is where their work is gonna be posted?
Good afternoon. I was actually typing a response to that question in the chat, but no worries, I'll definitely answer that or respond verbally. Anytime, anywhere learning is our district's approach to our entry when we launched COVID-19, being responsive. So it is allowing our students to be flexible in their learning space. So therefore, the students have pretty much the entire day to complete their work. We do understand that there are certain circumstances that we want to work around with some of our families. For example, there may be a situation which an older sibling is responsible for monitoring or supporting their younger sibling while they're doing their work during the day, which will prevent the older sibling from being able to be focused. But that does not mean that student is going to be penalized from having those responsibilities. Therefore, with Anytime, Anywhere learning, we're allowing the older sibling to be flexible in their learning space. Therefore, they can complete their work in the evening and submit it and still receive their same full credit, still receive the attendance that a normal student would. So Anytime, Anywhere learning is just our overarching explanation to our approach. However, Schoology is the actual system that students and teachers will communicate back and forth from, submitting assignments, answering questions. That is how they would also be able to access the live feature when they are in those direct sessions with teachers. So again, Anytime, Anywhere learning is our overall approach, but Schoology laser focuses how we interact with one another.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so moving on to Schoology, the software that is going to connect our students and our teachers and all the assignments together. So there is, in the Anytime, Anywhere website, all the resources and the information that I'm going to be showing you live tonight is also going to be on this site. And then you as a parent, I will show you how you log into Schoology, how you create your accounts, how you access your students' information. So first I want to show you the resources. So after today, because I know like when I learn something and then I sleep on it, I forget like 75% of what someone just showed me. So we will have videos that show you how to do this, and there are some documents that are posted that take you through the information that we're going to show you tonight. So I'm back at the DeSoto ISD site. Just as a reminder, you click on the Anytime, Anywhere learning. And then over here on the left side of this toolbar, you'll see software training resources. First thing you will see are the training dates. So we're going to be doing this on a monthly basis. So if you know parents that weren't able to come tonight, we have several ways that they can review this information. We're going to post this video on our website here. We will have another training just like this on September 10th. And then we'll add some more information as we go through into October and November based on the needs that we find from our parents. So here was tonight's information, the Zoom meeting, the passcode, all of that. You will see here is the PowerPoint that we are using for tonight. So you can click on that and reference the PowerPoint. And then the questions that you might be putting or you will want to ask later, you would click on this Google Doc and it will allow you to put your name in and what your question is. And then we'll add a section later for answers. And I don't know if parents are using this yet, but it will update at some point. And then you will see here's the next one, September 10th, and then the information will as follows. But I'm going to go back to this homepage here, and then for Schoology, once the videos come through, we're expecting the videos for what we're showing you tonight to come next week. So check back sometime next week, and there'll be the trainings for how to work Schoology should be up next week sometime. But more importantly, here are the print resources, how to create an account, how to log in as a parent, how to navigate Schoology. And this is going to take you directly to the Schoology page. And this is interactive. This is the part that I like the best, is it's going to take you through, click on this, type in this, hit continue, write in your first name, last name, hit register. There's written directions as you go through, okay? And then you would just close and you can go to the next one. All this information is here. So I'm going to open up a different browser. And as a parent, you don't have a Schoology page yet. So to create your Schoology page, you're going to have to go to the Schoology site. And if you just typed in Schoology into your browser, it will take you to the link that will go. And if you're referencing the PowerPoint that I have, there's a direct link on here for later if you download that document. Being the first time, and I'm assuming most of you, this is your first time in Schoology. If you have students in other districts, you might already have an account. And if you do have an account, we'll be able to link your old account and your new students as well. But being the first time, you're just going to click on this sign up button. And then you're going to identify that you are a parent. Now from here, you're going to need an access code. And you're asking, where do I get this access code? Your students' teachers will be sending you an access code. And I'm assuming, Chastity, those are going to come through an email?
Yes, that is correct. They will come directly from the teacher.
So in an email, it's an 8-digit code, and there's a little dash in the middle that will require you to put it in there. And then when you hit continue, if you remember from the document, it'll ask you to put in your first name, your last name, your email address, and create a password, and then submit. Once you've done that, you're ready to go. And you would go back to this login screen, and instead of signing up, you would click login. And then you would type in the email address that you registered for on the site and your password, and click login. Now, the first time you log in, you're going to have a blank everything. There's nothing there. There's no students registered to you yet. Or there'll be one student registered to you. My apologies. How you access your students' information is you're going to use this little drop down up in the right-hand corner and select the student's name that was attached to that access code that you had before. And now you're going to see all the information about your student, and it probably won't look this detailed at the beginning of the school year, but it will continue to grow as we go. And this is just linking to some of the practice sites that we've been doing as administrators, just to show you what happens. So this is going to be on the left side is all the announcements that have been coming through for all of your students' teachers. And it's just mixed in there by post date. And then on the right side, you can see how many assignments have been graded for your student. And this is every teacher at this point. We can filter down to individual teachers here in a moment, but this is just everything all at once. So if you wanted to see how many assignments your students have been graded for your student, you would just click on that. And as of right now, there's only one assignment that's been graded, and they got 100%. If you wanted to see that assignment, you would just click on the link, and it'll show you what your student had turned in. And it'll tell you how many times they turned it in and what the grade is, okay? If you look up right above it, it'll give you what you'd call is the tree on where to find this assignment in the actual teacher's course. So we're looking at, this is in Train the Trainer for 6 weeks, Unit 1, Training Day 2. This will tell you how to find it if you needed to, and you could click on this and it would take you to that Training Day 2 folder. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. I'm just hitting my back button, and then you can see that if there's any tests and quizzes for all your students' courses, there's nothing there. So if I click on that drop down again, it'll give me discussions and it'll give me attendance. And right now there's no attendance posted here either.
Ms. Williams?
Yes,
May I interject to ask 3 questions of you?
please.
If they're being repeated a lot in the chat. The first one is, will the student have a different Schoology login, and will the parent have a different Schoology login?
Great question. Yes, this is your private account. I would not suggest you giving students access to this account. They will have their own, and they will be able to see their grades and their attendance. Their login, their teacher will also give them an access code that they will put in. And in some cases, they might already be pre-registered. But if they're not pre-registered by the district, and Chastity's saying yes, they should already be pre-registered, the teacher will give them an access code to put them in there.
Thank you. And the second question that's being repeated is, will there be different codes per class?
Once your it's for your student. So when you log in your student, you will see all of the classes for them. Now, if you have a different child that you need to add in, you would use this drop down and then you would click add child and use one of the registration codes that the teacher gave you. They're gonna have probably 4 different codes, but just pick one of them, put it in here, click use codes, and then you should see everything that your student is registered for.
Thank
So
you.
you won't need to do it 8 times for 8 different teachers.
And the last question is, when do they get the access codes?
So the students, it sounds like the students are already going to be enrolled the first time they click on that Schoology link in Classlink. They will already have all their information preloaded. Now, the parents, that's going to be up to the teachers, and I'm going to assume it'll be before the first day of school.
Yes, so if I can interject really quick just to answer that question. So parents will receive an introductory letter, and it will basically be a mail merge of your access code and your student's information. And so from that is how you as parents can connect yourselves with your students. So students will automatically be populated based off of our synchronization from our team system to Schoology. But as a parent, you will receive an introductory letter with your access code to link all of your students.
Thank you, Chief McKissick. Thank you, Mrs. Williams. And that was it.
Okay. So after you're looking at grades and attendance, you'll see if your student has, remember, this is for every course that they're enrolled in at this point, anything overdue. First thing it shows is when it was due, the date, and what they're missing. And then you can click on it and it will take you to that page and tell you what it is that they need to do. You can hit the back button, and then as you scroll down, then you will see a list of all of the things that are upcoming. So on Friday, they have a food desert assignment in their biology class. It looks like on Monday, they have a quiz due for their tech apps class. And then you can click on it and it could give you some more information. Now, if you want to drill down past this global view, over here on the left side, it says courses. When you click on courses, and you want to just ensure that you're on the student that you want to be working with. So if you are wanting another child, make sure that you've added that child, and then you're clicking on their name. I'm just going to stay with my child, Kenneth. And if I go to courses, now it's going to show you the individual courses, individual classes that your student is enrolled in. So if I click on Tech Apps, it's going to show you the view that the student sees. Okay, so when they get in, they'll see the announcement here instead of the big long announcements that you had. And it will give you the different folders of assignments that they have upcoming. So your teacher will be breaking it down into weeks. So for the week of September 14th through the 18th, you could click on that and it'll show you all the assignments. And then for September 21st through the 25th, if the teachers are working that far ahead, you could click on that to see what's upcoming. So if I just clicked on that real quick, it'll take you in a little further and it will have a student checklist. Now your teacher is going to be uploading a checklist just so your student understands what they need to do throughout the week. So if we click on this, this is just a quick view of what it is they need to have done. So here's an example. It's 3rd through 12th grade. Yours will be more specific to your child through their teacher, but it'll have the teacher's email, the grade, the class, all of that. This section here will tell you what software. So if the teacher was requiring your student to do 30 minutes in iStation, you would see that there, iStation Math, 30 minutes a week. So then you would need to go to the digital backpack, click on the iStation Math, and log that 30 minutes. But any of the software that you would need to work with, the teacher should list that there. Now, as we go down further, This to me says that this is going to be a middle school or a high school, because in middle school and high school, they have A days and B days. So they're only going to be having that class every other day. So day one is September 14th and September 16th, and then on a Friday. So this is an every other day class. So for the first day, September 14th, this column is all the things that the student would need to do or has the opportunity to do. There's links here for videos, the link for the Zoom session. If they were just to click on that, then it would take them over to the Zoom. It tells you the time. Zoom sessions with your teachers are going to be between 15 and 30 minutes for every class period. The first 15 to 30 minutes of every class period, the teacher will be available to do direct instruction through Zoom. And then the rest of the time that is blocked off for math or for science or social studies, the student would be working on the rest of the assignments that are listed here. So there's a reading that they would need to do. If there are, identify 3 important details, put that in a Google form and submit it. It's all listed here. And then even an exit ticket, and it tells you when they need to have it done. Then for your other teacher, say the other teacher they have, they're going to be seeing them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You would go to the other teacher's course, click on that, find the same document, and it would tell you what they needed to do that day for credit. I know that's a lot. I can stop for questions if you have questions about this checklist.
I have a question. Would you tell us again when the students will have their access codes?
So the students won't need an access code. They're going to be pre-registered through the district, is going to upload all of that information for the students.
And when will that be by?
That'll be ready by the first day of school.
By the first day. And then parents will have to wait till the teacher sends us an email, which may not necessarily be the first day, right?
Chastity, go ahead.
Yes, okay, thank you. So yes, we are currently right now in the process of doing the student rosters. So as we're rostering into Schoology, as Ms. Williams stated, students are automatically populated in there. So what we're working on for next week is if you choose to participate in the Meet the Teacher Night, then you're going to hear information about how they're going to disseminate your email that you will get for the access codes from the parent side. So you should receive that prior to the first day of school. So everyone will have access to all of the information that they need.
Thank you.
No problem.
So that just made me think that it's important, if you're on here as a parent, to check to make sure that your email address is accurate in Teams through Parent Portal to ensure that you're getting this information. If you have an address that you have changed since you registered your student, you'll need to update that.
Ms. Heidi, I have a question. If the student had their account for Schoology last year, will they not just keep that same account?
It should be the
The
same.
one they were using Schoology at the end of the school year.
Yes, their old classes will be what's called archived. So they should still be able to find those old classes under archived accounts. And then the new groups will be what's live now. So their information won't.
Okay, will they keep their same will they keep their same passcodes and all of that?
Yes, that's just their student ID and their first and last letter, student ID number, exclamation point, which is how they log into their computers. That is universal for everything.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so the checklist that you just showed us,
Mm-hmm.
that's from the Anytime, Anywhere learning, correct?
Now this is the teachers will be creating this on a weekly basis and uploading it to Schoology. So it will change. Anytime, anywhere is just kind of the framework of how we are going to be implementing online instruction. And then,
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
That's what kind of had me confused because I had 3 children and one was in middle school. I had 2 in high school, one which was a senior. And it was very complicating and frustrating because my senior almost missed out on his graduation because some of the work that was supposed to be turned in was supposed to be in Schoology, and then they had it in Google Classroom, and then on Anytime Anywhere, it was showing where they had to do the last assignment, the project, and we didn't see that. So that's the thing that I'm fearful for everything, because I don't want to miss out on what I should be looking at on Anytime, Anywhere, because it's given a framework of what should be done. So my question is, everything that they are going to have to do is going to be in Schoology, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay,
that's
that's
one of the things that I know Chastity and her team really made an effort to condense everything into one place, because we heard that a lot was parents. There was a lot of different locations to access information and things were getting lost. So everything
yes.
is going to be filtered through Schoology, period.
Okay, that's good because one graduated, but I still have 2, so I just don't want to be all over the place because it was hectic.
Right, right. I totally
Okay.
understand. Did you have something you wanted to add, Ms. McKissick?
No, you're absolutely correct. So yes, we are using one learning management system as a district, and that is Schoology for all of our courses. And in addition, you will hear as she continues to explain the Anytime, Anywhere learning approach. Even though last year we just had the culminating performance assessment, and that's how the students receive their grade. This year, we want to definitely get them back into the mode of teaching and learning. So you will see a lot of their schedules, a lot of their assignments will mimic what we would do in a traditional brick and mortar setting. So students this year, they're going to have to work. They're going to have to maintain their academic schedules because it is not as lenient as it was in the spring semester. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so from that checklist that gave you the information in the table, there should also be different folders that you can drop down for the different days, and it'll also give you the information that the students would need to download documents, click on links for videos. So it should be in 2 different places. Okay, so also when you're in your students' courses under the different groups, you can access their grades here as well, and you can access their attendance. So if you went to updates, this is where you would see the individual posts that the teacher was making instead of that great big long list that we saw on the home page. And you can see the grades that are for each student, and then it's broken up into the different groups. So there's classwork and homework, classwork and assessments, I think are the 2 grading points for this school year. So mine is a little different than what yours will see as far as the titles go. But it'll give you a breakdown, and then you can click on it to see when it was due or how they did. And then you would just click on the courses and you can go to another teacher and do the same thing. And if you wanted to go back to your home, you could just click on the student's name and it'll take you back to the beginning where you have all the overdue stuff and the upcoming. Now, you as a parent have some choices of how you want to receive your information. Under your name, you can go to your profile and you can add in a picture of yourself if you'd like. You can update your email here. You can write a short bio and interest and activities if you so choose to. And then under settings, you have the ability to add in another email address, change your password. Now, if you have a student that is not in DeSoto ISD, but has a Schoology account, you can link all of those accounts to one profile. So if you're a DeSoto ISD, if all your students are in DeSoto ISD, how you would add them in is up here at the top by clicking add. If you need or would like to add a student that is attending in a different district but has a Schoology account, you would link on those through this settings option, okay? And then you would just follow the directions. And then remember, in the anytime, anywhere, there is directions on how you link multiple accounts. And it'll give you the step-by-step there as well. Under notifications, you can change how you receive your students' information. If you want to get an email sent out, or if you don't want an email to get sent out to you at all, this is where you would change that. So right now, your email summary is on, and weekly you will get a summary of your students' participation, how many times they turned in work, if it was overdue, late, on time, whatever. And it's set up to do weekly at 5 p.m. on Friday. So if you wanted to change the time, or if you wanted it on Sunday night, because that's when you go and check homework and make them get it done before they have ice cream, you can send it for Sunday earlier in the day. Now the notifications right now is off for the overdue submissions. So you could turn that on, and on the date that your student's course or assignment becomes late, you will get an email for that. And then you can go and remind them that they need to go and turn that in. But those settings are here. So if you want it, this information, if you want it on a daily basis, every day at 5 p.m., you can do that as well. And this might sound silly, but this is one of the reasons why I would suggest not sharing your password information with your students. They have access to this information, and you know, if they had your information, you never know what could happen. They could come and turn it off, and then we're not the wiser of what could be going on. So just keep your information separate and your access separate from what your students, they have their own access. Okay, so that is how you're accessing Schoology. I can pause for some more questions about Schoology.
Okay, we do have a question in the chat, and I think this is going to be for Chief McKissick. It says, what happened to the 8 to 12, 12 to 4, and 4 to 8 times as mentioned in the paper?
Oh, you're on it, because I was just responding to it again. No worries. Okay, so the 8 to 12, 12 to 4, and 4 to 8 was our approach in the last spring semester. We had an academic helpline set up for when students needed assistance. What we found from those time blocks is that students really wanted to connect directly with their individual teachers, and not just with anyone who's serving the academic helpline at that time. So therefore, what we've done this year is increase the amount of face-to-face time that students are having with their teachers. So now, as Ms. Williams stated earlier in the presentation, every class period is going to start off with the first 15 to 30 minutes as a live synchronous session. So therefore, again, those students will have an opportunity to connect directly with their teacher, get that live direct instruction versus just having to watch a video. And then also you will find out that our teachers also will have virtual office hours embedded at the end of every day. So again, as students are working through their assignments, they get stuck, have questions, need clarity, then they can reach directly to their teachers to gain that support. So this is just another enhancement to our Anytime, Anywhere learning plan.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Second question, and we'll do 2 more. Will the class be up by the first day of school, because they're not showing right now?
Yes, great question as well. We are currently in the process of doing our student rosters. So no, you will not see classes in Schoology yet. However, they will be forthcoming the next week, because we have to get those schedules out to the students, and we have to get those access codes out to the parents. So as of next week, you will begin receiving a lot of communication as to what will occur when we officially become back to school.
Thank you, Chief. And then the last question, we do have parents that are, it looks like they're getting knocked off, and they're having to log back in. So this parent just logged in, and the question is, how does a parent create an account and sign up in Schoology?
Okay, another great question. Ms. Williams pointed out on the Anytime Anywhere Learning website, there have been some resources added for you as parents. So if you want to know how to utilize different functions that are embedded in Schoology, you can go to the Anytime Anywhere Learning website, and Ms. Williams does have it displayed here for us on the screen. If you go to the bottom, you will see that there's a lot of links for you, and this is purely directly related to you as a parent and being able to support your students. So I encourage you to definitely utilize those resources. And this is not it. We will continue to have ongoing parent academies. So we can walk you through the systems that we're using like we're doing today, and then do any follow-up. So if you get to a point where you're not able to access a system, then we will have these monthly meetings to support you as parents.
Thank you, Chief McKissick. And I do see a question from Galaxy S8. We're going to hold off on that question and we're going to finish the presentation, but I do have it jotted down and we will get that question answered for you. So Ms. Williams, you may go ahead and continue.
Okay, so let me just remind that you're going to go to the DeSoto ISD homepage, and then you're going to go to Anytime Anywhere Learning, and then over on the left side of the page, you'll have the software training resources, and then you would pick the Schoology. There's Classlink and Zoom, but those videos and information haven't been loaded yet. Schoology is there. And then the print resources that are going to get you ready for the first day of school: adding an account, navigating the home page, adding children, email notifications, downloading the apps, because there are apps for these, creating your profile. And then this last one is just what your students will see, the student guide, which we did review just a little bit of. So all of that information's there. You click on it and it will walk you through what you need to do. Okay, so I also, from that question, opened up this schedule. On the Anytime Anywhere website, under parent resources, there are schedules that kind of mimic what your student's day would look like. So an elementary schedule, there are 2 examples up there. There is a middle school schedule, and then there's the high school schedule. So there are what we have that are called synchronous and asynchronous learning. So if it's green, that's going to tell you that that time is going to be 100% in Zoom. So there'll be a Zoom link, the student would click on it, and they would participate with their teacher or the counselor, whoever is doing this first 30 minutes or so of class. Now when it's yellow, this is asynchronous, so we know that they're going to also be using the Schoology page. Now, tell me if I'm wrong, Ms. McKissick, but the first 15 minutes of each one of these classes, the teacher will have the opportunity, provide 15 to 30 minutes of instruction. But that is optional. So if the student is not able to get on until like 10 o'clock at night and they're not able to watch that 15 minutes of instruction, that's not going to affect their grade. It's just for them, if they want that support, they have that time, they can log in and access their teacher. Yeah, she should, okay. So the first 15 minutes of every period, the teacher will be on there to provide direct instruction to your student, and then the rest of that time, they'll be working in Schoology on the assignment. And they can do it then, or they can do it at 10 o'clock at night. The assignment just has to be turned in by 11:59 p.m. to get credit for that school day. And then they have suggestions for lunch, they have suggestions for wellness breaks, and then at the end of the day are tutorials that teachers that will set up if your student is needing additional help. Same with Fridays. There's no direct instruction on Fridays. It will be lessons, links that the counselors send out, if your student is part of a club, or if they're in A2E2, or any special groups that your students might have, they'll do those on Fridays.
And Mrs. Ms. Williams, we'll add this. We have one of our assistant principals from the high school on the call. She also just wanted to add that the first 15 to 30 minutes will be recorded for those students who may miss this part of the instruction.
Perfect. So it will be recorded and they will upload it to their Schoology page so the student can access it on their time. Okay, let me jump back. This is coming to the end here. Questions that you might have about attendance. So there's several ways that your student can be counted present for the school day, and they only need to do one of these 4 things. First thing they can do to be counted present for the day is complete work in Schoology and turn it in by 11:59 p.m. that day. So if you think back to that sheet that told us everything that they needed to do that day, if they complete those assignments and turn it into Schoology by the end of the day that was due that day, they are counted present. They can submit all assignments through other means. So if they need to email it to the teacher, and I saw down here, take a picture, send it to the student, to the teacher, they would be counted present that day. If they have a one-on-one meeting with the teacher, so the teacher has needs to speak to the student and they're just talking one-on-one, that would be counted as attendance for that day. This one probably won't happen that often, but if they have contact with the teacher, that would be counted as attendance. And then if they are on that Zoom meeting, so if they were present for that 15 minutes of class, any class period, they're in Zoom, the teacher took attendance, it's their name that's listed on the participants list, they will also be counted present for that day. Now we do have some students and some families that don't have technology, so we do have options for them as well. They will be getting textbooks sent to them and paper assignments, if that's correct, Ms. McKissick. And then how they will show, how the parent will show that the student is working and completing the assignments in a timely manner. They will take a picture, send it to the teacher through email. If the teacher has a Remind, they can upload it to Remind using their cell phones. So, you know, it's kind of hard to do Schoology work on a cell phone, but most families will have a cell phone with some data on it. Or if they work something out with a teacher, as long as they are having daily contact, that will work as attendance for the day. The non-tech options, that's the book, checking out textbooks and doing paper and pencil assignments. Or in some situations, the teacher will be doing a daily check and calling and just checking on the student on a daily basis and seeing if they're needing assistance. So there needs to be some kind of contact daily through Schoology, through email, through a phone call for your student to be counted present. Any questions?
So Ms. Williams, we have a parent that just recently joined, and the question is, just wanted to know if students are going to be required to get up at a regular time as if they were going to school.
Let me defer that one to Ms. McKissick.
Good afternoon. Yes, you are correct. We are wanting to provide as much structure and mimic a traditional type of setting for our students, because at some point we will transition, or hopefully transition, back to our brick and mortar environment. So yes, students would be expected to get up like they would normally do for school, get their breakfast, get settled, get prepared, and then be prepared to jump on the live session if available to meet their teacher. Again, as Ms. Williams stated, it is not a requirement for that student to be present in the Zoom to gain attendance or to have mastery, but it is definitely an added benefit for them to get the direct instruction. But if not, they can always watch the video links that the teacher provides. But yes, we are mimicking a traditional school day as much as possible for our students.
Thank you, Chief McKissick. The next question is, will there be a timestamp provided when students turn in work, or what will be the proof of student submissions?
Great question as well. So that is one added benefit, of using Schoology. Schoology does timestamp for us, and so we will be able to see when a student has submitted their assignment, and therefore we will count it the following day in our attendance record. So as Ms. Williams stated, just to give you an example, if a student was doing their work and they completed everything that they're supposed to do that day and they submitted by 11:59 p.m. on that Monday. So on Tuesday, the teacher will run an analytical report from Schoology to determine which students have actually submitted their assignments. If they submitted their assignments, they too will receive a grade for what they submitted, but also it will count as the student's attendance for being present on the previous Monday. So submission of work serves two purposes. It does serve the purpose of attendance, but then also it serves our student progress, and that's how you will also be able to see what the student turned in and what they did not.
Thank you, Chief McKissick. Will the camera need to be on when they join Zoom?
Okay, that's another great question. We are not requiring our students to turn on their cameras. That is completely up to the student and the parent. We want our students to be comfortable in this new virtual world. So if they are uncomfortable, we are not requiring it. However, we do require for them to post their first and last name so the teacher can record who is actually attending the live synchronous sessions. But we also are encouraging, if they are not comfortable showing their camera or displaying, at least we're going to show them how to upload a picture, as Ms. Williams stated before as well. So we are not requiring the live video for our students. We encourage it, but ultimately we just want their name and then if they would like to upload a picture.
Thank you, Chief McKissick. Okay, Mrs. Williams, you may go ahead and proceed.
Okay, so this is just
Ms. Williams, I'm sorry, there is one more question that was from the Galaxy S8. This is for Chief McKissick, the last one. Can you explain more in detail the A and B blocks along with the scheduled times for classes?
Yes, absolutely. So if you'll notice on the Anytime Anywhere Learning website, we have uploaded our master schedules for our classes. In many cases from elementary all the way through high school, we're on a block scheduling. So students will have certain classes on Monday and Wednesday and others on Tuesday and Thursday. And that is to allow our students to be able to really kind of dive deep into a content area on a day and be able to get all of their work in and not overwhelm them trying to do so many different courses in one specific day. So we do have a block scheduling for our students and it's reflected on the Anytime Anywhere Learning website.
Thank you, Chief McKissick. Okay, Mrs. Williams, you may now proceed.
Okay, so this is quickly just the different types of attendance codes that you might see. So if your student was logged for the day because they were in Schoology, if they turned in an assignment, if their teacher called them or did some kind of a check-in, or they were present in Zoom, this is how you would see it coded, okay? This is just more information about how they will be doing attendance. So you have 5 days to make any corrections, and it's just like during the school day. If the student was at a doctor's appointment and they missed the day, or they have some type of excused absence, they would need to turn that into, I'm assuming they would send it to their school principal, and they would get it to the attendance clerk to change the student's absence from unexcused to excused. So it would work just like a regular school day. If your student missed a day, as they were sick, or they had to go to the doctor, or they had a dentist appointment, those kinds of things, still get those documents and send those to the schools to change that attendance from unexcused to excused. Once we go to campus supervise, some students might be going into a school building and doing the exact same work that they were doing at home. They're just needing to do it at a school building. Attendance is going to be taken at 10 a.m. So if your kids are coming in after 11 o'clock, I don't know if that's an option for that, or come in a half day, attendance for the day is taken at 10 o'clock. A couple of questions is, when is work due? 11:59 on the date that it is assigned in Schoology. 11:59 is the end of the day. So work needs to be turned in by 11:59. How often will my students see a teacher? That's going to be the first 15 to 30 minutes of each class period. So they could technically see 4 teachers in a day for 15 to 30 minutes. If you're needing help, so your student is working through and they're needing additional help, they have those virtual office hours at the conclusion of each day. So if you look back on the schedule here, that would be at the end of the day, they'll have some type of a Zoom link that they could click on or email address to send. The student can communicate with the teacher. If you're needing technology help, how do you do that? You would want to send an email to the help desk or call this phone number between 8 and 4:30. This information is, and I will put the phone number up, but I don't have that up on this Anytime Anywhere. But if you scroll down on whatever grade level your student is in, here is the help desk. You will click on this. It will open up an email and you can send them their message. So if your student needs their email reset, their email password reset, their login password reset, if your machine is damaged and you're needing assistance with getting that fixed, you would contact tech support and they will respond and advise you on what to do next. And I'll post that phone number up there as well under that information. Okay, so that's been a lot thrown at you at once. We will pause again and ask questions, and we do have Eduardo still here on the line. If we have any parents that are needing to ask a question, feel more comfortable asking in Spanish, he'll be able to relay that information to us.
Buenas tardes, este es el final de la presentación. Ahora vamos a tener unos minutos para poder responder algunas de sus preguntas. Si se siente más cómodo en hacer cualquier tipo de pregunta en español, lo puede hacer en este momento. Si no, lo puede hacer en el documento y el enlace que acaban de poner en el chat y nosotros vamos a responderle todas las preguntas.
So while we're waiting for questions to come in, just as a reminder, in the Anytime Anywhere, under software training, upcoming training dates, we have the question and answer sheet here. If you think of something later, just identify yourself and write the question and at least the question that we can follow up on the same document and answer that question.
Okay, we do have another question. I'm gonna, actually this could be for Chief McKissick or Ms. Williams. Is there a date that students will be assigned a computer?
I promise you always beat me to the responses in the chat. And that's a good thing. Okay, so if you have completed the survey that has gone out to the parents and community regarding a need for a device, you should be receiving an email within the next couple of days to coordinate your device pickup. If you are in need of a device and you have not completed that form, please make sure you do so, because again, that is how the district is able to identify the deployment of devices. We are working to order additional devices and eventually get to a one-to-one district. But as of right now, as you know, the entire world in this case is ordering devices. And so we are patiently waiting our turn for our time to come up to receive our devices. But ultimately, if you've completed the form already, you should receive an email here sometime soon. And if not, please make sure you do so. While I turn it back over to Ms. Williams, I will try to find that document. Actually, I think I know where it is. And I'll drop it back in the chat for any parent that has not been able to complete that form.
I was going to also ask if they were to email that help desk for the form, would they be able to send it to them as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So if you're not able to access it tonight, send an email to that help desk at DeSoto ISD and ask for a form, and they should be able to forward that to you.
Okay, thank you, ladies. Then we have, I believe, 4 more questions. Do the students have to meet online at a certain time?
Only if they're wanting to do that synchronous learning for the 15-30 minutes with their teacher in a live setting. If that is only going to be offered in that time frame that is listed on those documents. Remember that it's going to be recorded and they can watch it on their own time, but it's not required that they be on at the same time as everyone else.
Okay, thank you. I have a question from Mr. Moore. And I need a little clarity. It says you have a computer, however, it is not functioning properly. How do you get it fixed and ready? The question would be, is it a DeSoto device?
Yes, it's a DeSoto device, and just the add button is messed up on it. It was like that when we got it, and we sent an email to get it repaired, but we didn't get any type of back to get it fixed.
I would suggest sending that email again. It might have just gotten buried, and I apologize for that oversight. But send it again, because I know that they're working on devices right now, and they're scheduling times for students to drop those off to get them fixed.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Okay,
Is it true that all 9th graders going to get a notebook, Chrome notebook?
I haven't heard that.
I have not. I would say it will be the deployment of the devices will be based off of the parents that requested it in the survey. I know that there is a plan to ensure that our students that are participating in early college, high school, and dual credit programs have a device, because that's part of their expectation of working with Dallas College. But if they're not in that program, I cannot say that that is the case. I would recommend connecting with one of the high school administrators to confirm that. I don't want to misspeak on their behalf, but I do know if a student is in early college, high school.
Well, they are in early college, and I did reach out, and no one is reaching back out to me. So I'm just trying to figure out where to go, because she is in early college. And I heard that in one of the meetings, but you know, it's so many meetings, you get confused where you're getting the information from.
So if it's in early college, I would reach out, try to reach out to the principal in the early college. There's also under the FAQ site here, all the way down at the bottom of the page, there is an email. If you have any additional questions, who should we direct them to? There is an info@desotoisd.org. That would be a good one to send it to. And then always your campus principal is a good place to start. If they can't answer the question, they will send it on to myself, Ms. McKissick, somebody that in technology that can answer that question for you. But these 2 emails are a good place to start, as well as technology, the help desk one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I believe Chief McKissick just put the form into, is that the form to request a device? She put the form in to request a device. And we also have the form that's in there for you to ask additional questions. At this time, this does conclude our meeting. We thank you so much for attending the meeting. Again, we will have another session on September 10th. Our Chief McKissick has graciously stated that she is in the process of allowing more sessions. We will get that information to you. Again, we thank you so much. Our goal was to make you proud and make sure that we informed you with information, and that you were able to, you're going to be able to use Classlink, Schoology, and Zoom. So if you have any other further questions, put them in the Google form that we sent out, as well as reach out to your direct campuses. And we thank you all for being on this call.
Hold on, Melissa. I see a question in Spanish. Were we able to answer those?
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm sorry, I missed that.
From Maribel?
From Maribel's iPhone.
Yes, I was actually on the chat with her, and she's going to provide me her email and phone number so I can reach to her directly.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
And so one of the things that we want to add, this call was specifically a technology call, just to make sure our parents understood how to use our technology. I do see a question about disciplinary action. we're going to ask that you refer that directly to your campus principal. And then I see.
The login information.
Yeah, the login information. Everyone will get login information before the first day of school starts, as well as schedules, and all of that will come before September 8th. Okay. Okay, thank you, Chief McKissick. Thank you, Mr. Conde. Thank you, Mrs. Williams. And we thank every parent in DeSoto for being on this call. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you for coming.